you ever seen a Lifetime movie so absurd, nay, so stupid, that it actually circled back around to being sort of visionary? Meet Killer Under the Bed. I was looking for something light and fun to talk about on the channel because most of the videos I'm working on are really big, extensive deep dives, like watching every adaptation of some work, or watching a whole TV show, or watching all 25 Vivica A. Fox The Wrong Lifetime movies. And I suddenly remembered that a few years ago my family was on a trip to Florida and we were staying at a house that had cable. And so my sister and I ended up watching this movie, and I thought it was so funny, but I didn't make YouTube videos back then, and I guess I forgot about it. So now that I'm becoming something of a Lifetime aficionado, a Lifetime connoisseur, I thought I'd give it another watch. Killer Under the Bed is a Lifetime movie from 2018 written by Brian Dick and Ken Sanders and directed by Jeff Hare. Jeff Hare also directed Who is Killing the Cheerleaders, which you may remember was my favorite of the Lifetime cheerleader movies, so we have some real pros on board. Now, if you haven't seen this movie, the title is a little misleading. If you heard the title and guessed that the titular killer under the bed must be some sort of serial killer or home invader or escaped criminal, you would be wrong. If you heard the title and guessed that the titular killer under the bed must be some sort of tiny sentient voodoo doll wearing a jumpsuit, you would be right. That's right, this is not really a killer movie. It's a creepy doll movie. I mentioned this in my last Degrassi Actor video, but Lifetime doesn't do a lot of straight-up horror, let alone horror films where the villain is some sort of creature or object. It's mostly a lot of boring Fatal Attraction or Hand That Rocks the Cradle style thrillers. So this is a big novelty for Lifetime, and in my opinion, it paid off big time. This movie is awesome. It's gonna change your life. Let's get into it. I know you can't really see what's on my shirt, partly because it's half out of frame and partly because I usually horizontally flip these videos in editing, but my shirt says "Save a Union, Bust a Nut" on it, and I designed it. Link in description. In typical Lifetime fashion, we open with a boring action scene before the actual movie starts. We see, from the doll's perspective, which is pretty funny, this girl being chased into a shed with an ambiguous conclusion. Cut to the real movie, our protagonist Kylie is moving into a new house with her dentist mother and lacrosse player older sister.
God, I love my new room.
First of all, Kylie's name is spelled like this, which I hope was supposed to be a reference to the fact that this movie is about a killer. Killy. Kylie is supposed to be moody, unpopular, maybe a little countercultural, but she has these huge styled curls and constantly wears a full face of makeup, seemingly even as soon as she wakes up in the morning, so it's not all that convincing. In typical Lifetime protagonist fashion, her dad is dead and now she's acting out. I swear that has been the setup for like the last 3 Lifetime movies I watched. The family has been having some problems ever since the dad's death, and the dialogue is not exactly subtle about it.
Why does no one even bother to ask me what I want?
Because all you do is pout and cry and act like a brat.
Shut up!
I'm not taking sides, I'm just trying to negotiate some peace.
Dad wouldn't have done it this way.
When Kylie goes to check out the new house's shed, she happens upon the real star of this movie, the killer under the bed. When we first see the doll, it's hanging from a tiny noose. I am obsessed with whoever designed this little guy. He's dressed in what appear to be pajamas. He's got these long spider fingers for no reason, and he has that wispy gray, unmasked Phantom of the Opera hair. And in case you couldn't tell what he was supposed to be, he has a little tag on the back of him that says Voodoo Baby Doll. It looks like it was made with a label maker, and I'm 100% sure that it was. Now that I'm editing this video, I do feel like I should address the use of the word voodoo in this movie. I don't know much about real voodoo or hoodoo or vodun, but those are real spiritual, cultural traditions, and I imagine all these stupid horror movies that appropriate that language to be all like, look at these strange and spooky foreign customs, are pretty offensive to people who come from those cultures. I almost thought the film on the whole was so ridiculous that it didn't even need addressing, like it's fairly obvious, but just so we're on the same page, yes, I am aware that this is bastardization, and yes, I do think that it's bad. And then in case you still aren't sure what he is, Kylie Googles him, or sorry, Gigo searches him? That's a new one. She immediately finds a website describing exactly what he is and exactly how to use him. Number 1, collect an item from the person you wish to bless or curse. Number 2, pin the item to the doll. Number 3, state your wish. Number 4, the more time the item stays, the more power it has. I wish all spooky horror items came with such clear directions. Number 1, take Slappy the dummy out of his trunk. Number 2, recite the ancient text written inside of the trunk. Number 3, make Slappy kill your family or make him your boyfriend or whatever. But forget about that, it's time for some high school shenanigans. You can tell by the generic Lifetime Music Library pop song playing. Kylie immediately starts getting blackmailed by the school mean girl, who apparently is in the practice of demanding $100 from people in exchange for posting a photo of the two of them on her Instagram and not ruining their reputation.
To be nice, I'll do a post with the two of us. Like a little endorsement from me to you.
Thanks.
I'll just need $100.
It seems like a pretty good deal, I guess. Meanwhile, we have this subplot of the girl's mom joining a new dental practice in their new town. These movies always have like the mom's workplace subplot, maybe just to pad out the runtime. Excitingly, the mom's subplot involves a bitter rivalry between her and her coworker. The mom moved towns to accommodate her daughter's sports career, and thus had to move to the local practice. And she walks into the place, and this woman immediately starts accusing her of making this move because she wants to inherit the practice and, like, usurp this lady.
But don't think I won't fight you tooth and nail to be the person who gets this practice when he finally decides to retire.
What a weird thing to assume about a new coworker. Then things continue to not make sense in the main plot. This blackmailing bully is like, fine, don't pay me the $100. I want your jean jacket instead.
Look, if money's an issue, I'll take your jacket. It's super vintage.
No,
This is a problem because the jean jacket belonged to Kylie's beloved late father. It's already weird that the bully would want this jacket so badly, but then at home, Kylie confronts her sister, like, why didn't you help me out back there? And she says something about how the bully's dad is a big donor to the school, so hypothetically the sister's lacrosse position could be jeopardized by her standing up to this bully. This is all so convoluted. We're only like 15 minutes into the movie. But then she's like, I don't know, Kylie, why don't you just give her our dead dad's jean jacket and move on?
So why don't you just give it to her and then we can all move on with our lives?
And it's like, whoa, why would you say that? She seems to kind of resent how her sister is still grieving their father, which is already a pretty uncharitable thing to think about your loved one. But even if Kylie wasn't all caught up in her grief and struggling to move on, why would you be so okay with letting some bully at school that you just met forcibly take one of your deceased parents' possessions from you? I just feel like there could have been an easier, less confusing way to do all of this, script-wise. So naturally, Kylie decides now would be a great time to voodoo baby doll her sister.
Since she won't stick up for me, I hope this stick causes her pain.
I would have workshopped that one a little more. The bully in this movie is so outwardly horrible, it's a little hard to believe.
I'm not giving you this jacket.
I want it.
Stop!
But I guess you do need some of the characters to behave in really over-the-top nasty ways so that Kylie has reasons to try to voodoo baby doll people. Kylie ends up using voodoo baby doll to give the bully, Tina, like, Kylie Jenner lip challenge lips. And after this, she starts, like, befriending the doll. It's wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Finally something I can count on.
Kylie observes her mom's coworker from before being really rude to her mom.
Well, you weren't answering, so I had to get your attention.
Yeah, I was responding to emails. I didn't realize I needed to be at your beck and call.
So she voodoo baby dolls this woman.
I wish that Dr. Ryder would realize Mom's the greatest dentist in the world.
And in typical horror movie fashion, she tries to make someone, in this case her teacher, romantically interested in her, and they get way too romantically interested in her. It's very Wish Upon. Come to think of it, this movie is pretty similar to Wish Upon in general. You know, sad girl gets a wishing item, mean girl gets a gross physical injury due to wishing item, girl accidentally makes a guy obsessed with her via wishing item, etc. This movie doesn't star Joey King, though, unfortunately. Kylie's sister finds out about the doll and throws it away, but it magically reappears in her bed the next morning. I'm just imagining it escaping the dumpster and walking all the way across the yard and through the house on its little doll legs. The doll is not happy about being thrown out, so it hurts the sister again.
Is it your leg?
Yeah, you idiot, get out of my room!
Later, Kylie tries to Giga search Voodoo Baby Doll and this time gets no results. Ooh. I mean, you can type just about anything into Google and you'll get results, especially with keywords as vague as this. But whatever, this isn't Google, this is Gigo search. Kylie runs into Tina again while looking for occult books, and she ends up finding the doll and absolutely roasting it.
You really think this fugly thing can hurt me?
And Tina ends up taking the doll. This is important for later. Back in the mom's dentist office, the rival dentist has a breakdown, and this actress's performance is honestly the biggest serve in the movie. She didn't have to go this hard, but she did.
Why would you betray me? Why would you?
911, what's your emergency?
Judas!
There's someone making threats against my family. Her name is...
Judas! 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 Judas!
Someone put this woman in an Ari Aster movie or something. Back at school, Tina is preparing to leave with the doll, and here's a nice detail. She drives a hot pink Mustang with the license plate Daddy's Girl without the A. We cut to the teacher poorly photoshopping a picture of Kylie's face and his face onto a random wedding picture. This movie is so funny.
Mr. McCabe,
What is it?
I need to go to the bathroom.
Don't distract me from my photoshopping. Get ready, because this is one of the funniest scenes in the movie. We see the doll, who is sitting in the back of Tina's car like he's a baby, reach into her purse and pull out what looks like a tiny, perfectly doll-sized knife. Maybe it's supposed to be a nail file or something, I don't know. She notices him in the rearview mirror. He jumps to the front and stabs her repeatedly with his tiny baby knife in her pink convertible. It's glorious. It's looking camp right in the eye. Lo and behold, the doll appears back in Kylie's locker after this. Again, I'm picturing him making his slow way across campus on his little doll legs. I guess the teacher at this point has hit Voodoo Baby Doll creep capacity because as Kylie's walking home from school, he's at dangerously obsessed level and tries to get Kylie to get in the car with him.
Kylie, get in the car. Get in the car now.
I guess now is as good a time as any to tell you that my sister and I have this inside joke based on this moment in the movie The Kissing Booth, where Jacob Elordi really forcefully tells Joey King to get in the car.
Just get in the car, Al. Just get in the car, Al. Get in the car, Al!
And now we pretty much reference that anytime someone says, get in the car. We recently watched the movie Marry Me, and we found a great foil to that quote.
Get in the car, Al!
Get off the live, Mel.
Anyway, just wanted to let you in on what I was thinking about during this scene.
I'm just a boy with the girl telling her, I love you.
No! You're a teacher chasing a student in the woods!
Technically, better handling than a lot of the teacher-student relationships in other media. So Kylie manages to shake this guy, and she's learned that supposedly the way to stop a voodoo baby doll is to bury it, so she tries that. But of course, this does not work, and we get this amazing shot of the little doll's hand clawing its way out of the grave. Via doll shenanigans, the mom's coworker is now crazy enough to start going at Kylie's mom's face with dental tools. And this is more original and squeamish than you usually see from a Lifetime movie, so I appreciated that. We get a real girl-interrupted performance from the girl who last used the doll.
I searched the devil out and paid 30 pieces of silver for one of his demons.
very subtle and nuanced. Apparently, only hanging the doll from a noose with all of its pins puts it to sleep, so that is now the game plan. Also, the girl just starts screaming when she's done talking to Kylie because that's what the people who made this movie think crazy people do, I guess.
It's coming.
Kylie returns home to gather the 6 pins and the tiny noose to kill the doll. She runs into her creepy teacher and knocks him out, but now she's having kind of a standoff with Voodoo Baby Doll. This gives us maybe the funniest shot in the movie. Also, I know that the doll is magic and stuff, but could we not at least try just like stepping on it? Kylie's mom and sister get home, and here comes the other funniest shot in the movie.
Mom, did you see that?
You'll never believe what Kylie ends up doing to this thing.
Leave my sister alone!
She uses a lacrosse stick to yeet it into the fireplace, but of course that still doesn't work. It jerkily and awkwardly clambers its way out of the fire and then possesses Kylie's sister.
You made us mad.
Mom?
You think you can kill me? Stronger men have tried.
Leave it to the stronger women then, asshole!
I love this completely unwarranted girl boss moment, like as if that has been a theme in this movie thus far. Oh. Hey. So the doll upgrades to a human-sized knife, and just look at this thing crawl on the floor. By the way, this is genuinely what it looks like trying to get the leash harness on my cat. No, we have never successfully gotten her outside. We get a very brief shot of the doll walking, and it's beautiful. This entire sequence is just inspired. They're like, we have to hang it, and for some reason, instead of hanging it back in the shed or outside, they just put it up right in the middle of their house. Presumably it has to stay hanged for it to work. Why would you want it inside your house? And don't worry, we do get our little ending stinger. Tina, yes, that Tina, breaks into the house and frees the doll.
Hello, old friend.
So, that was Killer Under the Bed. I applaud the creative minds behind this film. I think it is perfect. No notes. Except for one thing. Actually, there is one problem. Who made the decision to call this movie Killer Under the Bed? What is wrong with you? You could argue that maybe it was like clickbait, like they thought more people would watch it if it was called that, but that makes no sense to me. Killer dolls are super in. They've been in for several years now. If anything, it probably would have been much more effective clickbait to call this the Killer Doll, or Killer Voodoo Doll, or even the Killer Doll Under the Bed. I mean, that last one would still be inaccurate, but at least it would include the central premise of the movie. But I digress. Ultimately, I think Lifetime should make more movies like this. And nobody cares anymore about the crazy nanny or house sitter or stepdad or cheerleader coach who moves in and starts slowly ruining the protagonist's lives. It's so passé. We're over it. What the people want to see is a tiny little man stabbing people with a tiny little knife. You know what I mean. Get creative. I imagine Lifetime doesn't do these types of premises often because of budget constraints, maybe? You know, when your villain is just a regular-looking human person, that's pretty easy to execute, whereas a killer doll or a scary diary that kills people probably requires a lot more effort and money. But what's great about this movie is that it seems like they didn't really have the money to execute it, but they did it anyway. That's the spirit. See you next time. I'm trying to do something big for a Halloween video, but the idea requires watching a lot of stuff, so we'll see if I'm able to do it in time. If not, maybe I can just find a good Halloween-themed Lifetime movie. And as I said, the Vivica A. Fox The Wrong video is still chugging along, slowly but surely.
The right mommy.
More like the wrong mommy!
Let me know what your favorite tiny doll-related horror movie is, and subscribe, or I'll go on Gigo search and find out where you live.